they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping till it's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping till it's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping till it's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen QueenAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen QueenAShakur, and this is your Sunday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. All right, hello, Buckhurst, D.C. Vince, I am from the UK. Cherokee Descendant Dale is in the building. All right, let's get into it, Miss Andrea. Okay, everybody hit that like button. All right, and also don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you haven't been receiving notifications. I see you, we the people. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because they be putting in work. Okay, so with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, all right, so welcome Yamel Eliatu or Eliatu. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to put on my glasses. All right, and so with that all being said, let's get into it. Where's my moderators? Hey, Mally C. Okay, I only got one moderator in here, and Vince, that's you. The rest of them must be on a vacation. Anyway, at least I have Vince from the UK. I mean, Desmond isn't even here. Okay. He's at work. Hey, Edwater, I see you, beloved. Okay, so let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. Okay, first things first, you all remember the story. Hey, Truth Montage, beloved. Anita Harrell in the house. You all remember that story I told you about with a pregnant Black lady and how the nurse was being so rude and low down and nefarious, right? Well, you know, that nurse has been fired. She's been fired, and now we're trying to make sure she loses her license. Okay, that's what we're trying to make sure she loses her license. I got all of her information. I got all of her information, her name and everything, her address, her phone number. I got all of the receipts, and I filed a complaint against her. Okay, I filed a complaint against her, and as many people as can do that should do so. Okay, and if anybody wants her information so that you can file a complaint against her with the Texas Board of Nursing, okay, BON, then just let me know and I'll send you the information. Okay, and so here is hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This is my confirmation. Now, when you go to the site, and you file your complaint, they'll give you a complaint number, okay, after all of your information has been entered. So, yeah, she's going down, and everybody has been going in on her. And here's the thing. Here is the thing, you all. She has been doing this. There is another video from 2023 when she was being so rude and nasty to a Black woman who was having seizures. She was brought into the hospital because she had been having multiple seizures. And she was just equally as, nonchalant, rude to her as well. I'm going to show you all that video. Okay, but first let's go to what people are saying about her. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And also, she calls that baby. The lady gave birth within 12 minutes after she finished being registered and all that stuff. And then the baby was born in distress. And so the baby had its first bowel movement in the uterus, okay, which isn't supposed to happen. But that's all because of that nurse. Luckily, the mom and the baby are doing good, okay? So, but I just find it all interesting because that was real low down what she did. And she had done this before. I think she should have been fired in 2023. Why was she still there? It leads me to think that more than her, okay, that maybe most of the people that work there at that facility are racist. Okay, that's just what it seems like. So a mother is calling out Dallas Regional Medical Center after reportedly witnessing the mistreatment of her daughter who was in active labor. Now, a viral TikTok video of user Cashman 2814 is drawing widespread attention for alleged medical negligence against a Black woman in labor. Now, the clip, which had over 18 million views by November the 14th, showed the creator's daughter screaming in pain from a wheelchair while staff asked her check-in questions. And here's the thing. Any of you that are moms, you already know this. This stuff is already supposed to have been taken care of before you get to the hospital. They're supposed to do pre-trial. I'm not pre-trial. They're supposed to do pre-admission registration, or they call it pre-registration. They do that weeks and even in some cases months before the person is due, before their delivery date. So when they get to the hospital, everything is just, everything's fine. And all they have to do is get them to labor and delivery, and they, can call the doctor. Okay. But the fact that she was sitting there getting information that should have already been in the system and likely was, she's just full of BS. Okay. I think she was trying to make that woman just basically have her lose her child. That's really what I think. I think she was trying to make her lose her child, because why would you not have taken her straight to a room? Women who are in active labor are supposed to be taken straight to labor and delivery, not forced to sit in an ER, answer questions while you talk slow and move like a tortoise. And then you're on the phone lying, saying you're not sure what her delivery date is when she already told you it was the 10th. Okay? Just low down and dirty. This, you know what? Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Okay, so let's continue. So anyway, she kept her literally there for 30 minutes, okay, or more, asking her the check-in questions. Now, this woman had her in the waiting area for more than 30 minutes. The delivery was awful, is what the TikTok user wrote. So, in a separate 6-minute video, the TikTok user shared more details about her daughter's delivery, explaining that she was told to wait for induction because no beds were available. Okay. Now, once her water broke and she returned to give birth, the alleged mistreatment occurred. So the TikTok user says they were directed to enter the hospital through the front entrance, even though they arrived via the ambulance area while she was in active labor. Okay. When they requested a wheelchair, a nurse brought it out, but refused to assist the mother with getting inside the wheelchair. Do y'all hear this? She wouldn't even let her or help her to get into the wheelchair. Now, once inside, the birthing mother was screaming in pain, but the front desk staff told the TikTok user they couldn't assist until the paperwork was completed. Y'all hear this? Now, after signing multiple forms while in active labor, they were moved to another waiting area where the initial video shows the mother still in pain while being questioned, prolonging her delivery. Now, after the incident, the TikTok user publicly criticized Dallas Regional Medical Center, accusing the staff of mistreating Black women. Do not go to this hospital. This hospital is ghetto as hell, she said. They do not care about Black women or their babies. This is crazy. I read about stuff like this all the time. I read about stuff like this all the time. But to see this firsthand, this lady did not care. Okay? The none of them. Isn't that crazy? So then viewers have supported the family and criticizing the hospital, with one TikTok user reporting that when they called to complain, the operator said they were aware of the incident, but only asked if the caller had a medical emergency. Okay, so anyway, you all hear this, honey. This is all just crazy at the end of the day and so egregious as far as I'm concerned that this mother had to even go through this. And then to find out that the same thing happened previously. Okay, so like I said, we're going to get into that too. Like, like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, we're going to what some TikTokers had to say about all of it.
Apparently, that nurse from Dallas Regional Medical Hospital is a menace. I woke up to a bunch of people tagging me in a video from 2023 where they're saying this is the same exact nurse and she was involved in another situation where they treated a patient horribly. Y'all let me know if this is the same nurse or not.
Going back in the building, man. We got it.
I'm gonna wait right here with my boyfriend.
All right.
You can go ahead and turn your phone off too, please.
I can record. I'm in a public place.
Recording everything that you're doing. So.
That's fine. That's fine. All right.
Yeah, look at the treatment.
It looks just like her to me. That woman in that video, like, look at her face right here. That is a evil individual you are looking at. That woman looked like she does not give a shit. How is it that these people are being recorded handling patients so bad and so poorly, but yet they still have a job and they continue to do the same things and nobody does anything about it? As I mentioned in my last video, if you're going to get into the medical field, make sure it's something that's a passion. If not, you're going to end up being somebody like her.
Okay. No lies detected. No lies detected. And, like I said, the fact that she wasn't fired in 2023 for what she did, at the end of the day, it just makes me feel like they all must be racist. Okay? Make it make sense. And that is absolutely the same nurse. Now, here's a video where you can see her a whole lot clearer. It's absolutely the same person. Okay? Her name is Latrista Vaughn. Okay, that's her name, Latrista Vaughn. She's going down for the count. Okay, we have all her information, home address, phone number, all of that. I'm not going to dox her, but if you want the information, I will email it to you. But they've been sharing it all over TikTok, so she's already been doxed, you know.
Now, this is the same lady, that red-haired lady. That is the same lady. Her name is LaCrystal Vaughn.
Going back in the building, man. We got it.
I'm gonna wait right here with my boyfriend.
You can go ahead and turn your phone off too, please.
I can record. I'm in a public place. Yeah, look at the treatment.
From the video that's floating around now that has been going viral of that African-American lady that was at Dallas Regional Medical Center that was in active labor. This is that same nurse. This video is from 2023, and the person went to the hospital to get medical attention because they were having seizures. And lo and behold, as you can see in the video, that rare hair bitch, her name is LaCrystal Vaughn. Somebody took a screenshot of this video, and when I tell you the lady is truly evil, she is truly evil. So Miss LaCrystal, she been doing this for a while. Dallas Regional Medical Center has been under scrutiny for quite some time now. So this is nothing new. This is actually sad and sickening, bro.
It literally is. Okay, this woman has just been torturing Black women for no telling how long. Okay, no, there's no telling how long she's been doing this and what other types of complications she may have caused someone. Okay, make it all make sense. Now, this is a recording of the phone call that someone made to the facility to complain.
I'm sorry, keep telling me. How can I help you?
Why take in Black patients if you want to treat them right?
I'm sorry, say that again, ma'am.
Why take in Black patients if you want to treat them right?
Ma'am, we do know about that. We're marking down the complaints about it. I can't really go into it, honestly, but I will let them know that you called and are complaining about it, and we've had many calls, trust me. Okay?
Thank you. Have a great day.
At least he tried to be cordial. But at the end of the day, you know, they should have been gotten rid of this lady, please.
That nurse in Texas who did that pregnant lady dirty, she got fired. Please understand, if you walk into a facility and you see her, whether it is blood draw, whether it is an urgent care, emergency room, private practice, I don't care if she's just sticking swabs up people's noses. I don't care if she's just doing blood pressure. If she is employed for whatever facility she's employed at, please understand that they too are racist. Because there's absolutely positively no way you could look at both of those clips that woman is involved in and not understand who she is and why she did what she did. It is point blank, period, obvious. So if they hired her under the impression we'll give her another chance, it's because they don't feel that what she did was wrong at all. Because they too would have done the same thing, which means they have or will do the same thing to you or the people that you love. So if she is there in any facility that you walk into, just know they are racist as well. And don't let those folks touch you. Do not let those.
Okay, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Woman who was being consistently ignored by the white nurse in Texas. She just posted an update that mommy and baby are doing well, and I put the video in my caption. She said that it was clear that the baby was in distress because he actually had a bowel inside of the mother's womb, which is going to require further testing because that can cause problems that he would not have or potentially have had that nurse did what she was supposed to do, which was ensure that the mother got to labor and delivery immediately. I want Black folks to also be reminded that we celebrate these billionaires, these Black billionaires specifically, but we don't have any hospitals of our own. We don't have any facilities that as a Black person that we can walk into and indeed feel safe because we understand that it is for us by us. Every single Black billionaire that we know will get a liquor brand, a clothing brand, a perfume, a makeup line, a hair care line. No schools, and I'm not talking about charter schools that they done slap their name on. No chain of grocery stores, no healthcare facilities, pharmacies. Oh, and because Democrat and Republicans in Congress and the Senate are besties, millions of people are going to lose their healthcare, meaning millions of people are going to lose their lives. Because in one of the nations that's considered the wealthiest, folks don't care about the next person until it happens to them or someone they know.
This is all very true, and it's very serious because at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders was talking about, the healthcare situation. When the contract ends in December and then the prices double or triple or whatever they go to, people who can't afford their health insurance, they're going to be screwed. Okay? People who don't have health insurance are going to be screwed. And Bernie Sanders predicts that about 50,000 people will die per year, okay, due to a lack of insurance. All thanks to the Republicans, if you ask me. But let's continue. And this is a common theme with Black women, specifically when they're pregnant, being mistreated at hospitals. Okay, you all know I have reported on this before. This is a serious issue.
Nurse named LaChrista Vaughn, and she sat here with complete disregard for a woman in active labor, screaming in pain, asking for help. And she responds to her and says, "I cannot help you." And this isn't even the first time she's been caught on camera with, in my opinion, a complete disregard for her patients. A Black trans man came in from having seizures, and according to him, he was treated like he was on substances, which, by the way, even if someone was, they still deserve to be cared for. The woman that she treated this way, a Black woman who is already at a higher risk, she ended up delivering her baby 12 minutes after getting out of triage. Her baby had their first bowel movement while still inside of her. However, we have an update that they are doing well physically. You can't tell me as a nurse that she is not aware of the statistics of Black women in healthcare. To look at her in the eyes and say that I can't help you. And for anyone who's ever had a baby, you know how horrible this type of pain is. And I guess the hospital, allegedly, in my opinion, doesn't like all this attention because they shut down their comments. I found this post very concerning where she says, "Any suggestions on switching specialties? Looking at moving from ER to labor and delivery. Are there any open residencies in DFW?" Thank God she didn't find an open residency or she changed her mind, because she, in my opinion, shouldn't be in labor and delivery, the ER, or any type of job that involves any type of care for human life. Giving birth to your baby should be a magical, safe experience where doctors and nurses believe you and they treat you with dignity and care. This mother should be able to go home and enjoy being with her baby and have walked away feeling safe, and they got the exact opposite. For what reason? I would love to hear in her words why she treated her that way. And lastly, for anyone who believes that there isn't racism in the medical field because maybe you're a nurse and you would never do that, if you can see a video like this and not see that this is happening, you're part of the problem.
Okay, no lies detected at the end of the day. And by the way, Black women are likely 3 times, or 3 times more likely to have a fatality during delivery than white women. Okay, and I've told you all this 1,000 times. Do you all remember, once in the chat, if you all remember that story that I reported, where the father, the Black father, he and his young children went to the hospital with the mother. She was pregnant, and then she ended up dying. They took her away. She was hemorrhaging really, really bad. Okay, they literally let this woman hemorrhage for like hours. They took her into surgery and she never came out. Okay? That man has to now raise his children by himself, thanks to their negligence. Okay? And that's why he's an advocate now. He goes around talking about these things because this is something that's very serious. The poor level of care that Black women sometimes get in certain hospitals is just egregious. If you all remember, when Serena Williams gave birth, she was going through something, and I think that she had like an aneurysm, or it was something going on with her, but they didn't take her seriously. They just kept dismissing her pain because ever since slavery, keep in mind that most of the medical advancements that they have come about with in the the last few decades, or not the last few decades, in the last 100 years or so, they have gotten these advancements by doing procedures on Black women, and sometimes without any anesthesia. And let's not even get into Henrietta Lacks, okay? How they just used and abused her, and her family didn't get any of that money. They were profiteering off of it. Another thing too is, I told you all before, how the placenta, okay, they want to keep your placenta after you give birth, okay, because they use that for stem cell research and other things, and they're making money off of this, millions of dollars, while some of these mothers who come in there to deliver their babies are on government health care. Okay, they're on SNAP. These people are not wealthy, and they're not giving them any of that money that they're making off of things that came from their body, okay, from their own body. So that's why I tell women, honey, when you go to the hospital and you give birth, take your placenta with you. Okay? Placenta with you. Or you can ask them, are there any parts of my body that are going to be sold? All right? These people are a whole hot mess. They are a whole hot mess. So anyway, with that all being said, D. Major said, now this is a quality white person. Protect them at all costs. We need them to help expose all these demons in these fields. Yeah, this is true. Okay, this is true. Who better to expose them than them? Okay, it's just like the raccoons. When the raccoons sit there and, they infiltrate our organizations to go and snitch and all of that. Yeah, same thing, pretty much. Okay, so anyway, let's continue. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Woman doctor saved my life and my daughter's life when I had my first child. She was the most compassionate, caring, and intelligent obstetrician I've ever had in my life. The fact that Black women are 3 times as likely to die during childbirth in America is fucking insane. And to see a woman like LaCrista, or whatever the fuck her name is, treat a woman who is in active fucking labor the way that she did, with just total disregard. And I can only assume the worst of LaCrista. But my Black obstetrician treated me, a white woman, with the utmost respect. She did everything in her power to help me have the birth that I wanted. Even though that didn't happen, she made me feel safe and heard and respected throughout the entire thing. And I have to wonder to myself, was my obstetrician afforded that same respect when she gave birth to her own children, being a Black woman? I'm trying really hard not to crash out over how fucking sick this woman is and how awful white women treat Black women in general. I'm so sick and tired of it. I cannot even imagine being a Black woman in America. We have to do better.
Bless her poor little heart. Bless her little heart. I thought she was going to cry. But she's absolutely right. And, at least she has empathy, more than I can say for some. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, here's the thing. Measure Man says, Judge Glenda Hatchett's daughter-in-law, Kira Johnson, died in 2016. Her story was horrible. Beloved, that's the story that I'm talking about, with the mother who was bleeding and hemorrhaging for hours. And the father now has to raise those children by themselves. Yes, these are Judge Hatchett's grandchildren. That's, as a matter of fact, when I showed the video, because the father did like an interview, and I think it was almost like 20 minutes long, but Judge Hatchett was actually in the video. So yeah, that's exactly the story I'm talking about. It was awful. It was horrible. Okay, it was hard to even believe that they let that woman bleed for about 10 hours. They had her back there. I mean, can you imagine? Absolutely egregious. Measure Man, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. You are appreciated. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so it's just really awful because, like I said, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during childbirth when compared to their white counterparts. And this, by the way, is according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, in addition, Native American women are more more than twice as likely, okay, as white women to die from pregnancy or die from pregnancy related causes, shall I say. And at least 60%, approximately 60% of maternal deaths are absolutely preventable. Okay. Absolutely preventable because race itself is not supposed to be a health risk, but sadly for us, it can be. Okay. So, there's associated biases, numerous disparities that arise. And as a result, that puts Black women and other minority women at risk, specifically us, though. Okay, specifically us. And we all know that Black women are more likely to experience negligence, when they seek medical needs, care for their medical needs and all of that. And like I was telling you all of the advancements in gynecology, a lot of that stuff absolutely came from the experiments that they conducted on Black women without the use, in many cases, of anesthesia. Okay? Without the use of anesthesia in many cases. And I want y'all to pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's move on and move forward because we have got to talk about some other things. Let's talk about Megyn Kelly for a second. They're calling her Megyn R. Kelly. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that in the title? Megyn R. Kelly is what they're calling her. She needs to sit down somewhere. She is getting dragged all over the internet streets. Okay, they are going in on her. She's getting dragged all over Beyonce's internet, and I'm loving it. Especially since she had so much to say, right? Remember, she had so much to say about Beyonce. And she had a whole lot to say about Diddy, but silent on Epstein and Trump, trying to cop pleas for them. I find it all interesting. Okay, I find it all so interesting. So, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. This is what Megyn Kelly made me think of. Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. This is what she had me thinking about right here. When she said that, oh, he's not interested in 8-year-olds, or it's not like it's 8-year-olds or 5-year-olds. They're like barely legal. Girl, sit down somewhere. That's illegal. But she made me think about R. Kelly when he said this.
Girls who are teenagers. Not wondering about you. Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
Girls who are teenagers.
Not what I'm going to do.
Okay. That's exactly what she made me think of. Right? How young we talking, Megyn? Megyn R. Kelly. Okay, sit down somewhere, honey, with her nefarious self. Anyway, let me continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, let me pull this up. Here we go. Now listen to this guy, because he really just lets you get an insight to, which we already know, how delusional MAGA is. Okay? How delusional some of them are. And I'm going to fast forward because we already heard what Megyn had to say yesterday 1,000 times at least. I'm going to skip forward to where he starts talking.
A passerby. I was talking to Trump supporters about this live.
Actually, no. Actually, beloveds, I'm going to go back to Megyn. I'm going to let the whole thing play because I just thought about something that I wanted to point out to you all with what she said.
This person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby.
Now, here's what I wanted to say. How does that even make any sense? She said they look younger than they likely are, but could look legal to a passerby. How could you do that? How could you look younger than you are, but at the same time look legal? Please make it all make sense. If you're 15 years old and you look younger than 15, then how could anybody else think that you're an adult, Megyn? You see how stupid she is? This lady is sitting up here. She has a 14-year-old daughter, by the way. I shudder to think, okay, what she would allow, saying things like this. Now, it's just really interesting because you see, it's seeming to me that the conservatives have just totally tried to flip the script. Because now it's amazing. But are they actually defending Epstein? Are they defending this man now? Because that's what it sounds like. Because it was Jesse Waters on Fox who said, he said something along the lines of, who cares about old emails? Excuse me? Who cares about old emails? Yeah, well, we do. People who are concerned about children and them being trafficked, sir. That's who cares about old emails. Okay, please make that make sense. Didn't they get upset about Hillary's emails? Weren't they concerned about those? Which were equally nefarious. Okay, I just want y'all to know because I still have Hillary's emails. Please pay attention. Okay, they were nefarious. A lot of coded language, but I figured it all out. So anyway, but yeah, this is also demented. But let's continue.
I was talking to Trump supporters about this live last night, and one of them, I asked if this was going to be the thing that would finally make him disavow Trump. And he was like, yeah, but I got to see some evidence. And then I asked him, did Donald Trump steal the 2020 election or try to? And this guy was like, no. And I said, did Donald Trump commit campaign finance fraud and get all those felony convictions? He was like, no. And I said, did Donald Trump assault E. Jean Carroll? He was like, no. And so it doesn't matter if we see a fucking 8K video of Donald Trump assaulting a child. They will never, this spell will not be broken. Megyn Kelly is on here right now trying to say that raping 15-year-olds is not as bad as raping other children. So
absolutely nefarious, okay? Now, mind you, John Oliver seems to think that Trump didn't have a darn thing to do with Epstein. I don't know how he thinks that because there's so many receipts just floating around. I don't know how. Okay, just anticipate said they'll say it's AI. You know, who knows what they'll say next because right now they are steady lying. Hold on, let me put something over this. Let me put an overlay on this. Okay, here we go.
Criticism is actually coming from Trump's most fervent supporters. Even the QAnon shaman posted, "Fuck this stupid piece of shit. What a fraud." And once you've lost dipshit Daniel Boone here, you are in trouble. And it's understandable why Trump's struggling to get even his own base to take his word for it that there is nothing to see here, because to do so, you essentially have to believe everything we've learned about Trump over the years is irrelevant or sheer coincidence, that all Trump did was repeatedly host Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, have him at his wedding, hang out with him at Victoria's Secret fashion shows, get listed as a passenger on his plane 8 times, joke with him at a party while pointing out hot women and saying something into his ear that got the most grotesque smile in the history of human expressions. Tell a reporter, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side," and allegedly hosts a calendar girl competition where, other than the 24 or so women flown in to provide the entertainment, the only guests were him and Jeffrey Epstein. You'd also have to forget about Trump bragging about his ability to grab women's genitals and claiming he could go backstage at his beauty pageants while women were getting dressed, something he was accused of doing by 5 Miss Teen USA contestants, and once remarking of his own infant daughter Tiffany that she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this yet, but time will tell. Beyond that, though, there's nothing there. Except for a jury finding him liable for sexual abuse, but other than that, there's nothing to see. And I should note, Trump denies the Epstein letter, the Calendar Girls contest, and the claims of walking in on Miss Teen USA contestants changing. He also insists he broke off ties with Epstein before he was convicted of soliciting sex from a minor, and he's repeatedly denied being told his name was in the Epstein files, despite reports Pam Bondi told him months ago that his name was in there. And I guess, ideally, Trump would have Jeffrey Epstein on tape vehemently denying their connection. Unfortunately, what he's got instead is this moment in Epstein's 2010 deposition.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Yeah, not great. If the answer's no, just say that. Instead, Epstein started listing amendments like he was ordering off the value menu. I'll have the number 5, 6, 14, 10, 12, 3, and whichever else means I don't have to break bro code.
Man is hilarious, okay? He is hilarious. Okay, so with that all being said, let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, because Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump have broken up. It's officially over. It's a wrap. Okay, and she did an interview this morning, like 30 minutes before I started my live, and we're going to look at that because she did an interview with CNN. Okay, so I want to hear what she has to say. I haven't watched it yet, but we're definitely going to get into it. But in the meantime, let's talk about her saying that she has been receiving death threats ever since she had spoken against Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene is getting death threats because of Trump. GOP representative makes shocking claim. Daughter Lauren Greene says, "Pray for my mom." Bless her heart. I hope her daughter isn't as nefarious as she is, because they look like twins, like I told you all. But anyway, let's continue. So President Donald Trump pulled his endorsement of one-time ally Marjorie Taylor Greene amid the Georgia lawmaker pushing for the release of the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican representative for Georgia, has claimed that there are threats against her that are being fueled by President Donald Trump's actions. Greene, who was once a vocal supporter of Trump's MAGA movement, found the president unexpectedly dropped his endorsement of her. Now, Trump's move, which he announced on Truth Social, along with a rant directed at Marjorie Taylor Greene, came amid different opinions over the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Trump has called the matter a Democrat hoax, trying to distract from the achievements of the Republican Party. Now, Greene, however, has been steadfast in seeking release of the files and was one of the 4 Republican lawmakers who signed to debate on a bill to release the Epstein files. Now, this debate will reportedly take place on Tuesday. Okay, I think I told you all Wednesday, but it's actually going to be Tuesday. Or I think the vote is Wednesday. But anyway, so on X, she wrote, "I am now being contacted by private security firms with warnings for my safety, as a hotbed of threats against me are being fueled and egged on by the most powerful man in the world." She added that this was the same person she supported and helped get elected. Well, you should have thought twice. So aggressive rhetoric attacking me has historically led to death threats and multiple convictions of men who were radicalized by the same type of rhetoric being directed at me right now. Now, referring to Trump, she wrote that this time it was by the President of the United States. "As a woman, I take threats from men seriously. I now have a small understanding of the fear and pressure the women who are victims of Jeffrey Epstein and his cabal must feel." Greene also observed that as a Republican who'd voted overwhelmingly for Trump's bills and his agenda, she found his aggression against her shocking. The lawmaker wrote, saying, "His aggression against me, which also fuels the venomous nature of his radical internet trolls, many of whom are paid, this is completely shocking to everyone." Now, I want you all to listen to what she said. His internet trolls, many of them whom are paid. Didn't I tell you all that? Didn't I tell you all that when we came from the Diddy trial, that they have people that are paid on social media to spew certain narratives, whether it be for the government, okay, certain prosecutors? This is what they do. They have social media funding for this. Okay, they have a whole budget for it. Okay, and I got that information from a very reliable source. That is a whole legal expert, and I'm not talking about Gavin Richard. Okay, this is someone from New York. Now, with that all being said, Greene concluded her message saying, "My phone is blowing up with constant, amazing support. I'm so thankful. The political industrial complex and the toxic, violent nature of American politics must end. Our country is worth saving, and it can only be done if we pull together and save ourselves." Now, while Greene hasn't outright spoken about any death threats that she's received, the lawmaker has made it clear that President Trump is fostering an environment where there are likely to be death threats against her. So after announcing his withdrawing his withdrawing of his endorsement while slamming Green as a ranting lunatic, Trump today doubled down on his attacks. On Truth Social, he called the 51-year-old lawmaker Marjorie Trader Green, while elsewhere he referred to her as a lightweight congresswoman and a rhino, or a Republican in name only. That's what rhino stands for. And so Lauren, who often shares her mother's post and adds her comments, shared this one. She said, "Please pray for my mom's safety." All right. And then, like she said, she's got private security firms contacting her, warning her about her safety. All right. So anyway, honey, she thinks that she's going to be getting death threats. With that all being said, let's go to this interview that she did this morning. Yeah. Now we're not gonna watch this whole thing because it's 18 minutes, okay? We're gonna watch maybe half of it, or at least until we get, if she starts boring us, then we'll be out.
Around the world, President Trump severing ties with at least one of his closest allies, declaring, "I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene," even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalists and attacking her as, quote, "wacky, a ranting lunatic, a rhino, and a traitor." This is days before the House of Representatives is set to vote on releasing the Epstein files. It's a stunning breach between two MAGA leaders, one of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first interview since the president cut ties. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, thank you so much for being here. As you just heard, and I know you saw, the president says he's withdrawing support for you, encouraging primary challengers. You were one of his biggest supporters. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on, and that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected, and I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration, and I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor. And that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said on X yesterday, quote, "It's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that it really makes you wonder what is in those files." Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
Well, before this blow up, you sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying that he did nothing wrong. Virginia Giuffre even said under oath that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and she wrote it in her book. So I'm continuing to listening to the women, and I think their voices.
I'm sorry. I don't believe that she's quoting Virginia Giuffre accurately. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think that what Virginia said was that Donald Trump, she never saw him do anything inappropriate. There's a difference. There's a difference, because if you say someone didn't do anything wrong, that means you're vouching for them. You're saying that they're innocent of any accusations. Virginia did not do that. I think that I recall her saying specifically that she never saw him do anything wrong. And I told you all, that's because she was not really around Trump. She was with Prince Andrew 3 times, according to her. Okay, so with that I've been sitting around Epstein. So she may not have seen him do anything because she wasn't around him. Not that he wasn't doing anything. That's my opinion. Okay, Measure Man said, Queen, you have to listen to Mark Levin's speech. We bow to Real and the Black MAGA preacher. Okay, has denounced MAGA. He can stay over there. I don't even know who this Black MAGA preacher is. I'm gonna find out. Okay, I intend to find out because I didn't even know there was a Black MAGA preacher. But thanks for your insight to the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Yeah, this whole thing, Marjorie is. I don't like the way she framed that, because she makes it seem as though Virginia was saying that Trump never did anything wrong, and that's not what she said. But let's continue.
Should be the loudest.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually, I never had a conversation at all with the president about running for Senate or running for Georgia. And those were decisions I came to on my own, that I don't want to have anything to do with the Senate. I think the past 2 months of the government shutdown should have shown America exactly why I would never want to be there. I think it's a very broken institution that serves the uniparty and doesn't serve the American people and how they vote. And I decided that I didn't want to run for governor this cycle either. I very much want to do the job that I'm in. Everyone else says I'm running for something, but all I want to do is serve Georgia's 14th district. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
Okay, she's lying. She's lying, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention, because I already told y'all this. AOC dropped the scoop. She spilled the tea last week, if y'all remember. Now, do y'all think she was lying? She absolutely said that the only reason Marjorie Taylor Greene is going against Trump, okay, is because she's upset because Trump wouldn't endorse her because she wanted to run for governor or senator. Okay, now she's saying that isn't true, but she's lying. She's lying. Because let me tell you this. Why else do you think she would turn on Trump? This woman has always been in love with Trump, as far as I'm concerned. She has bent over backwards for Trump. She has been one of his strongest supporters. Okay? Y'all think that she just all of a sudden decides to turn against him? No, she's mad because Trump wouldn't endorse her. And he told her no. Because just like AOC said, I believe AOC. Okay? But hold on. Because I went to check on Virginia Giuffre's exact words. Okay, and here it is, straight from ChatGPT. This is what she said in 2016 in a deposition. She says, I don't think Donald Trump participated in anything. I never saw or witnessed Donald Trump participate in those acts. I've heard that he's been in Epstein's house, but I haven't seen him myself. So I don't know. That's what she said. Okay, now in her memoir, she describes meeting Trump once at Mar-a-Lago, where her father worked. She said that he couldn't have been friendlier and even offered to help her find babysitting jobs. Yeah, because that's when she was 16 and her father was working there. She also disputed earlier media quotes that said Trump flirted with her. In later testimony, she said, Donald Trump never flirted with me. Okay. And she only saw Trump once or so at Mar-a-Lago, or met him once when she was working at his establishment. Okay. So whoever was in that room, and see, I'm glad I pulled that up because that just confirms my theory that I had that the Republicans were lying when they said that the person whose name was redacted in the Epstein emails, who Epstein said had been sitting in the room with Trump for hours, they said that was Virginia. Did they not? And didn't I tell y'all it wasn't her? Didn't I tell y'all that? Because first of all, the reason they would say that, like I told you, they would lie and say it's her because she's the person who said she never saw him do anything. So if they can put her in a room with him for hours and he didn't try to attack her, flirt with her, or do anything to her, then that means he's innocent. That's the narrative they want to push, but it's not going to work because we have Virginia's own words where she said she only met Donald Trump once at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. And she never saw him do anything. So she doesn't know. Not that he didn't do anything. She just doesn't know if he did. Okay. So at least she was being honest. Now, with that all being said, let's continue.
So he said it pretty explicitly. Are you saying he's lying, or did he at least get that message to somebody on your political team instead?
What if your messy garage could hold 3 times more overnight? Custom cat.
Measure Man says Trump spent Thanksgiving with him in 2017, but he said he cut ties with him 15 years ago. Exactly. That's the lie he told. First, he said that he cut ties with him in 2009. And then another time he said that he cut ties with him in 2006. And then the emails said that Trump was going to be at a Thanksgiving dinner where Jeffrey Epstein was attending. Okay, I reported that to y'all the other day. So Trump is out here lying, and listen. For anybody that tries to act as though Trump is innocent, how could you think so? How could you think so when he's doing so much to distract us and to, avoid putting the information out there? When he said that he would. Why is he backpedaling? Why is he doing all of this? He has to be guilty, in my opinion. There's no way someone who did nothing would be doing this. And also, didn't Jeffrey Epstein say that Trump was doing things? Didn't he allude to it? Because when they asked him if he'd ever seen Trump in a room with a girl under age of 18, Jeffrey pleaded the fifth. Now, if he had not seen Trump, wouldn't he have just said no? Of course he would. If he would have said no, okay? So miss me with it. Trump's dirty as everybody else, okay? And here's the thing. Just so you all know, like I have been telling you, this is across party lines. It's not just the Republicans. Some of these Democrats, too, have some affiliations with Epstein. Now, we know Bill Clinton does. We know that Bill Clinton did. I don't know if he did anything inappropriate, but I wouldn't put it past him. I don't put anything past any of these devils in politics. But at the end of the day, we know that Bill Clinton was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen the pictures all over Google. If you haven't, go look them up. And you also saw that painting that I showed you of Bill Clinton at Epstein's house. So why do you have a painting of that man in your whole house? Okay. At the end of the day. So yeah, a lot of these Republicans and Democrats had some things going on. And in my opinion, these people that are not pressuring Trump, to release the files, they likely may be in there themselves. How do we know? How do we know? These people that are acting like, oh, it's nothing to see here, it's no big deal. Jeffrey wasn't actually a PDF file. He didn't like 5 and 8-year-olds. They were at least 15, barely legal. Megyn R. Kelly, sit down somewhere, okay? These people are a hot mess. But let's continue. Listen to Marjorie's lies.
I'm not sure. That is untrue what he said. I don't know if he's being fed wrong information. I honestly have no idea in that area, but it is absolutely factually not true. Nor have I called him, and White House logs would prove that. His own cell phone records would prove it. I have not been calling the president, but I did post messages that I had sent to him. And that was to like protect, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released. And, I've stood with the president. I have disagreed with him at times, Dana, and I'm allowed to do that. I think that's the most important thing we can do as Americans. And I'm urging my party. I've been putting massive pressure on my party and our speaker to pass the agenda that the American people vote for. That's the agenda that I fought for. Those are the campaign promises I made. And I can disagree with the president at times, particularly this past Monday on the Marines' 250th anniversary, when he honored the new Syrian president, who is an Al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our government for years with a $10 million bounty.
Okay, didn't I tell you all this days ago? You heard it here first. Ahmed al-Shara. He had a whole terrorist, an Al-Qaeda affiliate, a former Al-Qaeda affiliate, person who's on the terrorist list in America, just taken off recently, had a whole $10 million bounty on his head. He had him in the White House, but we're supposed to think that he's so concerned about smugglers out there on the sea bringing illegal substances to the United States, and these people he's deeming these people as terrorists. But you had a terrorist in the White House, did you not? Okay, make sense, Trump.
Up until March of this year, I very much am against that. I think that was very hurtful to the great men and women who served over in the Middle East and were sent there, and many of them that were killed and injured and live with PTSD to this day from fighting Al-Qaeda. So there's things I disagree with, and I'm allowed to do.
Yeah, and let's not mention those 4 Marines, okay, who got killed. And wasn't Ahmed al-Rashad somewhere in the vicinity, but they claim that he didn't have anything to do with it? That's what they're saying now, I guess because him and Trump are friends.
So,
well, you mentioned the Syrian leader at the White House. You've also been critical of President Trump over foreign entanglements, H-1B visas. Now he's moving military assets towards Venezuela. I do want to play something that he said this week.
Don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else, and MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Do you agree? Do you think he represents the MAGA movement as he once did?
Well, what the American people voted for with MAGA was to put the American people first and stop sending foreign aid and stop being involved in foreign wars. They very much deserve to be put first. Cost of living is far too high. Health insurance is completely out of control. And those are 2 issues I've been very vocal on for months and months now, long before Republicans were shocked when those big losses came on this past Tuesday's election. So I think that the American people deserve to be put first. That's what Make America Great Again.
All right, Marjorie, I've heard enough. I've heard just about enough, okay? At the end of the day, I don't give her any points or credit or show her any favors for speaking out against Trump now, because you're only doing it because you're mad at the man, okay? Because you fell out with him. At the end of the day, you're not doing it because it's the right thing to do, the honorable thing to do, okay? That's not why you're doing it. So miss me with it. Yes, that's right, Swift. He requested a pardon for Benjamin Netanyahu. Absolutely. He's going to jail. That man's going to jail. Honey, Trump can miss me with that. And he should be going too, right behind him. But hold on, because just about an hour ago, this report came up. It says Republican Representative Thomas Massey said Sunday that there could be a deluge of Republicans who vote in favor of forcing the Department of Justice to release all the Epstein files. Not a deluge of Republicans. That basically means a flood of them, honey, a whole bunch. I already told you all days ago that 100 or more of them had flipped. Okay. He says, I'm hoping to get a veto-proof majority on this legislation when it comes up for a vote. This is what Massey said, because remember, he's been fighting to get these Epstein files released. But Trump may want to veto it. Okay. So they're hoping to get a veto-proof. He said this week, co-anchor Jonathan Karl, Massey was one of 4 Republicans who defied President Donald Trump and joined Democrats in signing the discharge petition, which forced the vote this week. Now, the vote comes after the House Oversight Committee released over 20,000 documents, including emails and text messages from Epstein, many of which mention Trump. Now, the president has responded by calling the files a hoax, and he pressed Attorney General Pam Bondi to open an investigation into several prominent Democrats over their ties and connections to Epstein. Please make that make sense. How in the hell is he investigating, having an investigation done with prominent Democrats when he already said it's a Democratic hoax? Trump is just ridiculous, okay? His lies don't even make sense, ever, okay? I have another concern about these investigations that he's announced. If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smoke screen. Well, wait a minute. What do you know? I didn't even think of that. Are y'all listening? Oh, Trump is slicker than I thought. I didn't even think of that. So the fact that he's calling for the investigation of, Obama, Bill Clinton, and other prominent Democrats, Reid Hoffman, who worked for Obama, he's not actually calling for Obama. He called for Reid Hoffman, who worked for Obama. But it did mention that Pam Bondi was looking into Obama. Now, with that all being said, a smokescreen, I didn't figure that out. I missed that one. I slept on that one, okay? Because that's exactly what this is. Because when there's an active investigation, they don't release evidence. They don't give you information. They'll say, "Oh, we can't talk about that," especially Pam Bondi. She's good at saying that. Remember when she was talking before Congress and she said, "Oh, I'm not going to give you that information. I'm not going to tell you anything that's going on in the White House. I'm not going to tell you what we're investigating." Remember all that? How she stonewalled? Didn't want to give any transparency, but that's what they promised us in the beginning. Trump ran his whole campaign on the Epstein files and being transparent and America first. All lies. And being someone who doesn't promote war, but in fact stops it. But now looks like he's trying to start a whole war with Latin America, specifically Venezuela. But listen, that doesn't make any sense either. Because remember, I told you all the other day, while he's acting like Venezuela is so busy sending the Tren de Agua gang over here with illegal substances that they're smuggling, they came out and admitted themselves that the people that are most likely to be smuggling would be the Colombians, because they're along Colombia is closest to the route. So then if that's the case, why are you constantly attacking the Venezuelans and talking about this gang and also talking about the President Maduro? Okay, make it all make sense. This is all crazy, but let me continue. So anyway, with that all being said, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy also discussed the Epstein files on this week, calling Trump's call for Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate Democrats both heartbreaking and totally surprising, or unsurprising. I'm sorry. Now, the Department of Justice has just become a protection racket for Donald Trump and a witch hunt operation against his political opponents. They're using his own term, because that's what he always lied and said when they were investigating him, okay, that it was a witch hunt. So this is why our democracy is in such peril right now. Is that for the first time in our history, the Department of Justice operates in order to try to punish and lock up anybody that criticizes Donald Trump. Trump claimed earlier this year that he ended his association with Epstein in the early 2000s after discovering that Epstein was allegedly poaching employees from Mar-a-Lago. Trump has not been accused of any crimes related to the Epstein case. They keep telling us that, and now they're saying in the early 2000s. Okay. So I find it all interesting. But you know what? Trump, I don't know what to say about him. Now, some people think that Trump is sick. Okay, they've been talking about his health lately. We're going to get into that. But before we do, let's talk about this dude right here. Okay, this is Taylor Taranto. This is one of the January 6th domestic terrorist, rioters, insurrectionists, thugs, vagabonds, okay, whatever you want to call him. He's one of those, and he was pardoned for the January the 6th incident, right? But this is the same man who showed up at Obama's home. Okay, this is the same man who showed up at Obama's home. And why did he show up at Obama's home? Well, thanks to Trump. Okay, thanks to Trump. That's why. Trump doxed Obama. Do you all remember that? Do you all remember that? Let's get into it. A former January 6th rioter. Hold on. Which one of these do I want? We're going to go with this one. Lights up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, now, Taylor Taranto, a pardoned January 6th defendant who was later convicted of 2023 charges stemming from live streaming a bomb threat as he drove around former President Barack Obama's DC neighborhood. Okay, he was sentenced Thursday to time served and 3 years of supervised release. Okay, now this was a few weeks ago. Now, a day earlier, the Justice Department withdrew its initial sentencing memo in the case, which mentioned Taranto's alleged involvement in the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. Now, the Justice Department subsequently placed, listen to this, 2 DC-based federal prosecutors on leave after they had filed court papers calling the January 6 Capitol siege a riot perpetrated by a mob. This is what 3 sources familiar with the matter told CBS News on Wednesday. Okay, and if you all remember, I reported that to you on Wednesday. So at the beginning of the sentencing hearing, U.S. District Judge Carl Nicholas praised the 2 prosecutors who were removed from the case, Carlos Valdivia and Samuel White, for doing an excellent and commendable job on the case, and said it was some of the best work he'd seen with the highest standards of professionalism. Okay, now with that all being said, do you all remember this? Once in the chat, if you all remember this man outside of Obama's house, and all thanks to Trump. Did y'all even know about this? I can't remember if I reported on it or not when it initially happened. Vince says, is that a Yahtzee symbol? Okay, but so anyway, Taylor Taranto, who was apprehended while he was live streaming video near Obama's Washington house in Washington, D.C., was also found guilty of a false information and hoaxes charge related to a video that he streamed a day earlier, claiming he was on a one-way mission to blow up the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Gaithersburg, Maryland. U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols ruled on the case following a bench trial that got underway last week. Now, Taranto's attorney, Carmen Hernandez, blasted the verdict, saying, I think it's terrible. It's a terrible outcome under the statute that is overbroad and violates the First Amendment. Mr. Taranto is an honorably discharged disabled veteran with no prior convictions, no history of violent conduct. He's been convicted of having made a bad joke with absolutely no evidence that he intended to carry out any criminal conduct. So we're supposed to think that was a joke when he was standing outside of Obama's house talking about bombs and whatnot? Taranto had posted about appearing outside Obama's residence the same day in June of 2023 that Trump shared a screenshot on social media that included what he said was Obama's Washington address. Now, why would Trump do that? I want y'all to ask yourselves, why would Trump post Barack Obama's address on the internet, doxing him? Because Trump wants something nefarious to happen to Obama. He is so jealous and envious of that man. And this should give you more insight to how low down and dirty he actually is. Someone said earlier, I put the comment on the screen, but I don't remember who it was, but someone said earlier they think that Trump had Epstein deleted. I do too. I think the same exact thing. Okay, please pay attention. Trump was running for president. Epstein was about to go on trial, and he had the goods and the information on Trump. Then he turns up deceased, and they say he did it to himself. I absolutely think that Trump was the hidden hand behind that. Now, that's my opinion. And if it was not Trump himself that had the order sent out, I believe that it would likely have been the puppet masters who control Trump. Okay, those that are allowing him to wreak all of this havoc and chaos and dismantle the United States. And the reason they're dismantling the United States, I'm sure you all know. Okay, it is because of the NWO. And you all know what that means. I'm not going to say it because every time you say that, they'll put a little sticker on your channel, a little notification. But you all know what the NWO is. And it's not ninjas without attitudes. Okay? But anyway, let's continue. So goes on to say that he was at Obama's Washington address, which Trump had posted. Prosecutors say Taranto reposted what Trump had shared and then posted about being outside Obama's home, writing, we got these losers surrounded. That's what he said. Now, investigators said they found 2 guns and hundreds of rounds of ammunition in Taranto's van, along with a machete when he was arrested. Prosecutors alleged that Taranto repeatedly said that he was trying to get a shot and that he wanted to get a good angle on a shot. Online sleuths first identified Taranto as a January 6 participant in 2021. He was one of the roughly 1,500 January 6 defendants that President Donald Trump pardoned on the first day of his second term in office. Okay, this man wanted Obama dead. Talk about he's trying to get a good shot. And Trump's the one who pardoned him. Trump's the one who pardoned him. Now, he got sentenced to time served, which is crazy to me. Okay, he should have gotten years. But I guess it probably wouldn't have mattered because at the end of the day, had he gotten years, Trump likely would have pardoned him again, specifically because he was in jail for what he did with Obama. Okay? Partially, anyway. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, now let's talk about Trump and Natalie Harp. If you don't know who Natalie Harp is, she's the blonde lady right here with the red on my thumbnail. She's in love with Trump, in my opinion, honey. She's just always, and I don't mean like just a diehard, supporter or whatever. I think she's in love with Trump. Seriously. They might even have something going on, but I hope she wouldn't be that desperate. But you never know. So Marjorie Taylor Greene's Epstein Files text sparks fear about Trump's mental state. Natalie Harp involved in healthcare cover-up. Okay, this is what they say. So Marjorie Taylor Greene shared screenshots of what she said were her text messages with President Donald Trump and about the Epstein files. But one of them was addressed to NH. Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene had a very public falling out after the president announced he was withdrawing his endorsement from the Republican lawmaker from Georgia. Now, while Trump resorted to calling Marjorie Taylor Greene a ranting lunatic in a Truth Social post, Greene hit back by sharing her texts with Trump about the release of those Epstein files. Now, Greene's rift with Trump reached a new nadir days ahead of the House voting on the release of the Epstein files. Now, while Trump has called the matter involving the convicted child offender a Democrat hoax, Greene has consistently pushed for the files to be made public. She was also one of the 4 Republicans who signed so the bill could be debated on, and discussions are slated to take place on Tuesday, according to Politico. Now, when Greene shared screenshots of her conversation with Trump on X, many were quick to point out that she was texting a person with the initials NH. While Greene herself didn't provide clarity on the matter, many deduced that it was Natalie Harp, a close aide of President Trump. Now, the fact that Greene was texting Harp has also led to some worrying about the president's health. So, hold on, beloveds, pop-ups. Okay, so who is Natalie Harp? Natalie Harp, dubbed the Human Printer, okay, is a former American television broadcaster, and she's been a close aide to Trump. As per Michael Wolff's All or Nothing, How Trump Recaptured America. That's the book that Michael Wolff wrote. All or Nothing, How Trump Recaptured America. Now, Harp actually sparked security concerns over her intense behavior towards Trump. The book stated that Harp was a member of a group of female staffers with whom Trump had a flirtatious relationship. You're all that matters to me. This is what Harp reportedly wrote in a letter to Trump. Not that you're all that matters to me. Honey, she sounds like she is in love. Now, the president, meanwhile, jumped security concerns over Harp having a desk just outside the Oval Office. Okay, make that make sense, y'all. She's talking about you're all that matters to me, and her desk is literally right outside the Oval Office. Okay, so then when people said something to Trump about it and voiced their security concerns, he said, nonsense. This is what Trump said, nonsense. She just loves her president. Now, Harp had earlier credited Trump with saving her life due to the Right to Try Act in 2018, which allowed her to access experimental medical treatment for her cancer diagnosis. Oh, really? I find that all interesting. So Mehdi Hassan, former founder of media company Zateo, had said Harp was likely the most important person in America that you've never heard of. In a 2024 post, he wrote, 33-year-old former far-right cable anchor Natalie Harp may be the most important person in America that you've never heard of. She controls all the online information flow to Donald Trump, literally. That's interesting. Now, while MTG's phone, and that's Marjorie Taylor Greene, while her phone mentioned the texts were to one Natalie or an NH, Grok also drew the same conclusion. Now, if you don't know what Grok is, GROK, that's an AI thing that's like Chat GPT that Elon Musk has. Okay. And it just gives you information or whatever, just like Chat GPT. So Grok also drew the same conclusion that the person in question is Natalie Harp. Natalie appears to be Natalie Harp. Okay, Trump's executive assistant and close aide, often dubbed his human printer, for curating positive news for him. Okay, this is what Grok wrote to a user query on X. So one person has raised explosive questions on X while bringing up concerns about the president's health. Adam Cochran, who defines himself as an independent investigative journalist, wrote, "Wow, Marjorie Taylor Greene accidentally dropping a bombshell here. That second text goes to Natalie Harp." According to Cochran, the White House claims that Harp is a low-level EA. They said, but many people have speculated that she frequently puts out message AS Trump online, he added. Okay, so Cochran further claimed that this was because of Trump's mental state and alleged that Harp was involved in his health cover-up. So interesting that DJT doesn't respond to Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Natalie is responding and sent the all caps message about it being a hoax. Is this 34-year-old woman secretly managing U.S. policy through Trump's comms? This is like when Edith Wilson secretly ran the country after Woodrow Wilson's stroke. Ha! That's what he said. Okay, this is all crazy. So anyway, he's not the only one who's expressed concerns about the president's health recently. Another one remarked that Donald Trump just isn't functioning right. He doesn't know what body part just had an MRI. He is having meetings in situation rooms to keep Epstein files silent or quiet. He is attacking one of his most loyal supporters, Marjorie Taylor Greene. He keeps moving away from campaign promises and America first. While there is no basis for the claims that Harp is involved in some sort of health cover-up regarding the president, there have been concerns about his health. Now, most recently, it came to light that Trump had undergone an MRI when he was supposed to have a routine medical checkup. The president's remarks on the test have also been brutally mocked. Trump said, "I have no idea what they analyzed, but whatever they analyzed it well." Trump shut the hell up. He added that the doctor mentioned it was the best result he'd ever seen in his medical career. Ha! A lie doesn't care who tells it. Trump, sit your lying self down. First of all, let's be clear. He claims that he doesn't even know what they analyzed, but whatever it was, they did a good job, and the doctor told him it was the best result he ever seen. The best result of what, Trump? You claim you don't even know what body part it was, you numbskull. Okay, and that's probably what it was that they did the MRI on, your skull, to see if you had a brain in there, and if so, was it of normal size, or was it in fact the size of a mustard seed? I have so many questions. I have so many questions. He needs to sit down somewhere, okay? Enough already. Enough. Let's continue. And so, that all being said, beloveds, let's go to this video where Trump, oh my goodness, he was so livid. I want to mention that this is y'all's president, not mine. But this is a brief clip. It's only like 30 seconds. I wish it was longer. But this is a brief clip. Measure Man said MRI doesn't give you an IQ, LOL. Okay. Anita Harrell said, "Queen, not a mustard seed." Yes, that's about as big as I would expect it to be with the foolishness that he keeps coming up with, beloved, and the stupid, nefarious lies that make absolutely no sense. Just Anticipate said, don't give him that much credit, Queen. Not a mustard seed. You all are nefarious. Okay, but so now listen, Trump loses it on Air Force One. Okay, and this was yesterday. This was reported. This I am say, Queen, you are nefarious. I know, I can't help it. I can't help it, beloveds. Pray for me. I'm doing my best. Here we go. Now watch how he gets all up in this reporter's face for simply asking him a question. I think he wanted to hit her. I think that if there were no cameras around, he might have elbowed her or something. Just please pay attention. This is y'all's president, though.
That was on Air Force One tonight when asked if there was anything in
Let's go back and look at it again when he puts his finger right up in her face, almost on her nose.
That was on Air Force One tonight when asked if there was anything incriminating in the Epstein files, and he lost his cool to the point where he lunged at a reporter and stuck his finger this far away from her face. That is completely unhinged. And the crazy thing is, that won't even make the news tomorrow. This shit's out of control.
It definitely is. Okay, it definitely is. I mean, no lies detected. Did y'all see him? He was ticked off. He was absolutely ticked off. I want y'all to pay attention, honey. Trump's losing it. These Epstein files are going to drive him crazy. Now, last but not least, let's go to this letter that this lady wrote replying to Erica Kirk, asking for donations. She wants to know why she's asking for donations while people are struggling to survive.
So the other day I posted a video of me reading this ridiculous letter I received from the desk of Erica Kirk at Turning Point. And I've thought about it and I decided, they're not getting money from me. But you know what? They did give me a return address envelope. Didn't give me paid postage, but that's beside the point. So I decided, you know what? I will send something back. I'm going to send my own letter back along with, just a little bit of photo and a little bit of glitter for some fun. But I just wanted to read to you what I decided to send back. So if anybody else gets this letter, I encourage you to maybe think about writing a letter back as well. You will have to pay for postage, but small price to pay. So hers said from the desk of Erica Kirk. I put from the desk of a former Christian. Dear Erica Kirk, I am writing to ask you what you are doing about the millions of Americans who are going hungry right now, especially as the political party you've aligned yourself with continues to prolong the government shutdown. To my surprise, instead of addressing that suffering, the letter you sent was asking us for money. You're asking Americans for donations when many can't even put food on their tables. You're asking for money when you yourself inherited millions after your husband's passing. How can you do this when people are struggling to survive? Did you stop and ask yourself, what would Jesus do? And did you really conclude that he would want you to raise more money to spread Christian nationalism and manipulate college students? How about instead of continuing your husband's hypocritical legacy, you follow Jesus' example and start flipping some tables? Because it's Christians like you, your late husband, and the movement you both built that have given Christianity such a bad name. People like you are why so many of us have left the church. You're why countless others have turned away from faith altogether. If you truly want to save Turning Point, then make it one by actually turning toward the teachings of Christ. Do what he commanded. Live what he died for. Because right now, all I see are modern-day Pharisee Christian nationalists who would likely be front-row spectators at the crucifixion if Jesus returned today. So if you want to help save America from the very evil consuming it, try this. Send letters asking people to donate to Feeding America. Encourage students to organize food drives on campus. Encourage people to donate and or volunteer at local pantries, as well as do so yourself. Because I'm fairly certain this is what Jesus would be doing, and I'm equally certain he would not be condoning a millionaire asking struggling families for more money to spread lies in his name. P.S. Please don't send me a wedding announcement for you and J.D. Vance. Save the postage. Sincerely, a current agnostic.
Not a wedding invitation for her and JD Vance. I love it. Okay. And she's absolutely right, because I was telling my cousin this weeks ago that Trump reminds me of the Pharisees that the Bible speaks of, and how Jesus would criticize them. You know what? I think we're going to do a video about that tomorrow. Okay. We're going to do a video about that tomorrow morning, because Trump is the devil. All right. So with that all being said, hold on. I know I told you all I was done, but guess what? I have a couple of more Megyn videos. Let's just drag her for a few more minutes and then we're out of here. Okay? I mean, I couldn't resist. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Megyn Kelly literally said, if the grass is green, play ball. That is what she meant. When she said those girls were 15, not 8. They're not children. Because we live in a society where if a girl has the audacity to hit puberty, fuck them. Literally and figuratively, just fuck them. And I'm so disgusted with this bitch that I'm going to go there. This is her 14-year-old daughter, Yardley. And if you want to get on my back saying, leave the kids out of this, this woman doesn't think that this is a kid. She's 14. Megyn, she's the same size as you. Look how tall she is. What child? She's not 8, right? Well, why don't you let her intern for Trump? Leave her alone in a room with Trump for a few hours. See how you feel then. It doesn't matter what comes out in those files or emails. Doesn't matter. These MAGA hypocrites do not care. Megyn wouldn't even care if it happened to her daughter. She wouldn't care. Nothing is going to change her mind on this. We're just going to spend the rest of our lifetime begging people to leave girls under the age of 18 alone.
Hey, no lies detected. She told her right. Told her absolutely right. Okay, so now with that all being said, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. So let's go to this. Oh man, are you serious? I had something I wanted you all to see, but I have to sign in, and I'm not going to do all that. But it was a parody that someone did of Megyn. It was hilarious. Okay, it was hilarious. So anyway, with that all being said, listen, Trump is really shaking in his boots right now. He's just worried about next week, what's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you all this, okay? Next week, when they have the debates, when they vote whether or not to release those Epstein files, I want you all to pay attention, because it's going to get real ugly, okay? It's about to get real ugly. Because like I told you all, we got Democrats and Republicans that were involved with Epstein, and that's just facts, in my opinion, okay? At the end of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude the broadcast. Now, listen, I want to remind you all that I'm going to be live in about an hour. I'm going to be live in about an hour on the True Crime Sundays. So for all of you who have memberships, don't forget to tune in. Okay, don't forget to tune in for that. This I am said the name Megyn R. Kelly is so funny. Okay, that's what they're calling her. All right, that's what they're calling her, because she's just, shady as hell. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Everyone enjoy the rest of this day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And for those of you who have memberships, I will see you all in an hour, okay? With that being said, peace, love, and blessings, okay? And always keep the Most High first in your lives, beloved. Also, double check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest this right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got